When was the last time you took a real vacation? Not a vacation where you checked email every 2 hours, constantly on your phone, and not a long weekend where you called in Saturday morning just to make sure. I mean, a real vacation, phone off, out of reach. 7 days of complete disconnection from your store. If you can't remember, or if the thought just gave you a low grade panic attack, I invite you to hear something that's going to be really uncomfortable. If your store can't function without you for just a week, you haven't built leader. You've built dependency. And dependency isn't a sign of your value, it's a sign of your biggest failure. This week in the war room, we're going to move from being a great leader to building great leaders. Because everything you've developed over these last 11 weeks, all these tools, frameworks, identities, the pressure resilience, it means nothing if it lives and dies with you. It has to become part of your culture and your team. 7 minutes, one truth, one execution mode. If you're a leader who is truly worn out of having to answer every question in the building, tired of watching things fall apart the moment you step away, and tired of building a team that performs for you but can't perform without you, so you can never take a vacation, you are in the right place. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and this is the Dealership War Room. This isn't motivation, and this isn't theory. This is a daily leadership briefing for people who actually have to produce results in the arena, at home and at work. You're in the war room. Here's the trap. It feels good to be indispensable, right? It feels good when your phone rings every time there's a problem. And it feels good when people come up and say to you, hey, this place, it just doesn't run without you. Now that statement, which most managers hear as a compliment, is actually a diagnosis. It means you haven't developed a single person capable of doing what you do. And it means the moment you're gone, for a vacation, for a medical leave, for a better opportunity, for retirement, everything you built collapses. That's not legacy. It's a house of cards with your face on it. And let me draw the distinction that changes everything. There are, at the end, two kinds of leaders: the indispensable leader and the unforgettable one. The indispensable leader is absolutely needed. The store cannot function without them. Every decision runs through them. Every problem lands on their desk. They are the hub of every wheel, and they're exhausted because the hub, it never stops spinning. It cracks. The unforgettable leader is remembered, not because the store couldn't function without them, but because the leaders they develop are still leading long after they're gone. Their fingerprints are on people, not processes. Their legacy is in the careers they shape, not the months they've won. And here's the dagger line. The indispensable leader builds a store that needs them. The unforgettable leader builds leaders who don't. So why do managers fall into the indispensable trap? There's 3 reasons I've come across. The first is obvious. It's ego. And let's be honest, it feels good to be needed. It feeds something deep in the human psyche, to need to matter, the need to be essential, the need to know that without you, things would fall apart. But that need, when it's unchecked, becomes a ceiling on everyone else around you. Because if you need to be the smartest person in the room, you'll never develop anyone smarter. And if you need to be the most capable, you'll never let anyone become more capable. Your ego becomes their ceiling. And they'll either accept it and stay small, or they'll leave and grow somewhere else. Second, speed. It's fastest to do it yourself, always. In the short term, doing it yourself saves you 30 minutes. In the long term, doing it yourself costs you thousands of hours. Because every time you take back a decision, rescue a conversation, or step in because it's easier this way, you just taught someone. They don't need to develop that skill. You got it. You'll do it for them. Every rescue is a stolen rep. And reps are how all leaders get built. Third, fear. What if they make a mistake? What if they lose the customer? What if it reflects bad on me? That fear is the exact same fear your boss felt when they promoted you. If they had let that fear win, you wouldn't be where you are today. The leader you are right now exists because someone took a risk on you. Who are you taking a risk on? And here's what I want you to hear today. Please listen to this. Your job at this point in your leadership is not to be the best leader in the room. It's to fill the room with leaders. That's the shift from performer to developer, from the person who produces results to the person who produces people who produce results. And that shift, that exact shift, is what separates a manager who runs a great store from a leader who builds an organization. Think about every great leader that you've ever admired. Were they remembered for their personal performance, or were they remembered for the people that they developed? Nobody puts he ran a really tight P&L on the tombstone. They put, he changed my career. She believed in me before I believed in myself. I'm the leader I am today because of that person right over there. That's legacy. And you can't build it while you're trapped at the center of every single decision. So here's today's execution move. I call this the vacation test because that's where we started. Think of this as having two parts. First part, honestly answer this question. If you left the building tomorrow for 7 days with no phone, no computer, no internet, what would break? Write it down. Every system, every decision, every process that depends entirely on you. That list is your developmental roadmap because on it is something that you need to teach someone else to own, to develop, to have. Second, look at your team and ask this question. Who could I develop to handle one of these things? If I invested the time, energy, and effort, not who's ready or who has the potential. If you stopped rescuing and started developing, write down one name next to the item on that list. That's your first developmental project. Not a promotion, not a title change, a deliberate decision to bring transferring your capacity to someone else. The goal is not to make yourself less valuable, it's to make yourself less necessary. And there's an enormous difference between those two things. And if you know a leader who's drowning right now, a friend of yours, someone in the business, not because they're bad, but because they've never learned to develop the people around them, I invite you to send them this episode. The trap feels like a compliment, but it's a cage. And this is the way out. Because all elite leaders, they don't build stores that need them. They build leaders who don't. And the measure of their greatness isn't what the store does while they're in the store. It's what does it do after they're gone, while they're out of it. And that is the kind of leader you're becoming. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to find the leaders who are already hiding in your organization, the ones you've been walking past every day and maybe not seeing. So go out today, create some leadership fire, start to transfer capability. Don't miss tomorrow in the leadership war room.